It must be hard being a famous musician, because so many of them desperately want to be other people. How else do you explain the sheer volume of alternate personalities that have been invented in music over the last few decades? Then again, sometimes an artist just wants to experiment with an entirely different sound and knows that it doesn't line up with their current fan base, so it's easier to call themselves a different name, wear some different clothes, and avoid alienating the people who made them famous in the first place. I am Kirsten from WhatCulture Music, and these are 12 musicians you didn't realise have truly bizarre alter egos. Number 12, Prince's evil twin, GEMINI. Prince's weirdness is seemingly as unending as his talent. For an example, look no further than his soundtrack to Tim Burton's Batman. Rather than change a few lyrics from some pre-existing demos and collect a fat paycheck, Prince went full-on method actor for his songwriting process. To get inside the heads of Michael Keaton's Batman and Jack Nicholson's Joker, the Purple One could have just gotten together with his co-stars, smoked some peyote, and asked some basic questions, as in tradition with these things probably. Instead, he created his own evil twin, GEMINI. Named after his astrological sign, Gemini acts as a stand-in for the Joker. Thus, the majority of the songs on Batman are sung by the valiant Prince, while a few, Electric Chair, Party Man, and Trust, are sang by the evil Gemini. Visually, Prince decided to represent both characters at once, his Two-Face character first appearing in the video for Bat Dance. So yeah, Prince inadvertently dressed up as an entirely different character from Gotham and thought the alter ego was his own invention. Number 11, Paul McCartney's electronica persona, GLADYS. In his post-Beatles fame, Paul McCartney has earned the right to do pretty much anything he wants. But Paul says that kind of creative freedom also comes with a Midas-like stress, with constant pressure to turn anything he touches into gold. In working with producer Youth under the moniker The Fireman, McCartney has figured out a way to relieve some of that pressure. Pretend you're not Paul McCartney. So, in the studio, he refers to himself as Gladys Jenkins, allowing the former Beatle to craft lavish, electronic soundscapes without getting inside his own head too much. He explains it thusly: "When you go to the microphone, I don't think of it as going as Paul McCartney and it frees you up. I'd say, right, you're going to become Gladys Jenkins." Number 10, Justin Bieber's rap persona, Shawty Main. Justin Bieber has had very few moments of self-awareness in his career, so when the then 16-year-old pop sensation rapped a verse over Cameron's Speaking in Tongues and started calling himself Shawty Main, it would seem as if Bieber's path to complete ignorance was well underway. His cringe-inducing explanation of how the alter ego came about certainly doesn't help. Shawty Main? I don't know. Me and my friends were just messing around and they were like, Shawty Main, and I was like, yeah, that'll be my nickname. But Bieber was actually rather grounded about the whole ordeal. Even as real rappers were genuinely complimenting his style, he denied any suggestions he might change his career course and even explicitly said, Justin Bieber is not a rapper, and it would just be lame if I came out rapping. Of course, Bieber found a way to ruin that bit of goodwill by attempting to legitimately revive Shawty by rapping alongside Juicy J in 2013 for a song called Lolly. Number 9, KORN'S lead singer goes dubstep as J Devil. Though KORN has never shied away from embracing goofy trends now and again, covering novelty 80s songs was majorly in vogue in 2004 when they released their version of Cameo's Word Up, Jonathan Davis's venture into Skrillex territory seems a bit desperate. Davis commits a number of elder statesman faux pas in describing his new act, calling his laptop his best instrument, saying how he loves the dubstep scene, and expressing his adoration for the kids who are a part of it. Oh, and even though the guy helped produce KORN'S last album, don't dare compare Davis's version of dubstep to Skrillex. It doesn't really sound anything like him. I've had a chance to work with all of the best guys in the business, and it taught me a lot. I like to come up with my own style, so I'm getting respect from lots of people. Number 8, Beastie Boys' Country Mike. What started as a silly character in an unproduced Spike Jonze Beastie Boys film eventually blossomed into a full album of Mike D performing country songs. In what is clearly a case of the Beasties not knowing how to fill up their downtime, the group came up with an entire backstory for the Country Mike character involving drug addiction, redemption, and a television show. For a long time, the group was committed to making people believe that Country Mike was a real separate individual. When the ruse was finally over, bandmate
Adam Yauch
shared a different version of how his alter ego came to be. At some point after Ill Communication came out, Mike got hit in the head by a large foreign object and lost all of his memory. As it started coming back, he believed that he was a country singer named Country Mike. The psychologist told us that if we didn't play along with Mike's fantasy, he could be in grave danger. Finally, he came back to his senses. Number 7. Norah Jones's punk rocker, MADDIE. When the world knows you as a sweet and soulful, smoky-voiced singer of Don't Know Why, it can be hard for them to take you seriously as a punk rock chick, blasting out songs called Rock Your Balls and Head in a Vice. But Norah Jones isn't content to sit at a piano all the time and had the urge to rock out a little. So in order to keep her identity secret and her prominent career safe, Jones slapped on some fishnets, a blonde wig and some face paint and started calling herself MADDIE. The band, appropriately dubbed El Madmo, had an easy go of it for their first slew of gigs, with no one realising Jones was part of it. Her new persona had since been made public, but the band made such a solid first impression that Jones should be able to hold on to the punk rock outfit as a legitimate side project if she feels the need to let out some aggression every now and then. Number 6. Bono creates an excuse for egomania with The Fly. Bono's now legendary egomania evolved from a character the U2 singer came up with during the band's Zoo TV tour. Every negative trait people now associate with Bono, the narcissism, the cocksure swagger, even the permanently glued on sunglasses, came from Bono's characterization of who the media claimed him to be in the 90s. He adopted a persona he called The Fly, likely inspired by those infamous shades, which was one of several characters he played on the tour. As The Fly, Bono could be free to explore his inner rock star fantasies under the guise of detached irony. He claimed The Fly was a response to the rape that happens when you are in the spotlight, and you go along with it. More than 2 decades later, it's clear Bono is still going along with it, because there's no separating the man from the character nowadays. Number 5. Hank Williams' sobering counterpart, Luke the Drifter. Hank Williams, the hard-drinking, rowdy adulterer, liked to write songs about, well, alcohol, partying and cheating. But little did Williams fans know, he also had a strict religious upbringing and often felt conflicted about those actions and the songs that he wrote about those actions. To get some of those demons out, Williams penned a few overtly spiritual recitations under the name Luke the Drifter. These songs were literally condemning the rest of Williams' discography and his overall lifestyle. They weren't even songs so much as sermons, with Luke preaching about the virtues of clean living and God-loving. He wanted to release the songs under his own name, but his manager convinced him that it would be career suicide. Since Williams was incredibly popular in bar jukeboxes, which is where a staggering amount of artists' revenue came from in those days, for his rough and tumble ways, patrons probably wouldn't have enjoyed hearing a song about the consequences of partying too much. Number 4. Amanda Palmer's conjoined twins, EVELYN. As a member of the Dresden Dolls, oddball art rocker Amanda Palmer made a living being weird. She used an abundance of theatrics in her live shows, and the Dolls' music was a curious mix of punk rock and cabaret. So it shouldn't be that surprising that Palmer invented an alter ego with folk punk musician Jason Webley, or that this alter ego was a conjoined twin. But it's a little surprising how far she takes this stunt, only playing gigs in character under the name EVELYN, literally connected to Webley at the hip the whole time. The duo plays a litany of instruments but uses only 2 hands between them. So for instance, one person would play the fretboard of the ukulele while the other person strums, and they do this with every instrument. Number 3. Britney Spears predicts her own mental breakdown as Mona Lisa. In an interview on MTV's TRL, Britney Spears exclaimed the simple needs for her alter ego Mona Lisa. She gives Spears an excuse to act like a complete a-hole and not feel the shame that should come with those actions. Whenever I feel like being mean, it's kind of easier to be called Mona Lisa. The alter ego had her own eponymous song in 2005, which eerily predicted Spears' real-life meltdown 2 years later. The lyrics depicted how the unpredictable pop star suddenly fell from grace, and then there's the last verse. Now, see, everyone's watching as she starts to fall, they want her to break down. There will be a legend of her fall. A couple of years later, of course, Spears went to rehab, shaved her head, lost custody of her children, and became more legendary for her public breakdowns than for her music. So, kinda nailed it there. Number 2, Joni Mitchell wears blackface, calls herself Art Nouveau. Joni Mitchell is known as much for her songwriting as for her rebelliousness within the music industry. She was a nonconformist who jumped in and out of genres, folk, pop, and jazz, whenever a whim caught her. Mitchell was also quite outspoken about the racial segregation occurring in Los Angeles in the 70s, and criticised the LAPD for their treatment of the black population. She employed several black musicians at a time when that was considered a statement, and constantly distanced herself from her privileged upbringing and general whiteness at every turn. So why did she think it was a good idea to appear on the cover of her 1977 album Dom Juan's Reckless Daughter wearing blackface? According to legend, the pancake makeup and funky attire were the trappings of a character she'd invented, a black pimp who she called Art Nouveau. Needless to say, most folks were unimpressed. It didn't help that Nouveau was unveiled first at a Halloween party in LA, which suggested that this was just a big joke. A big, weird, racist, completely miscalculated joke. Number 1, Snoop Dogg wears whiteface, calls himself Todd. For no apparent reason. Back in August 2014, Snoop Dogg unveiled a new persona when he started posting photos and videos on social media in which he'd call himself Todd and plug a fake website called White Guys Connect, where white guys look for fly single females to connect with and have a good time. Todd lists his interests as paintball, crochet, and a little spoken word in my free time, all in an exaggerated frat bro voice. And weirdly, Snoop did it all without actually promoting an upcoming project of any kind. It seems he was just really bored and looking for an excuse to wear a turtleneck. And there we go, the 12 musicians you didn't realise had truly bizarre alter egos. Are there any others that deserve a mention? Let us know down in the comments below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, click that subscribe button and don't forget to click that bell to be notified of any new videos that are coming your way. But for now, I have been Kirsten Ria from WhatCulture Music, and I will see you in the next video.